Discovered. How a cleaning lady shocked a millionaire by saving his special daughter's life. Rosa wiped the sweat from her brow as she stood in the entrance of the sprawling mansion. The contrast between her own tired work boots and the marble floors glinting under the chandelier made her heart tighten. A long day of juggling 2 jobs and raising her 2 young kids weighed heavy on her shoulders, but she was here to do what she was good at: cleaning. Across town, fireworks blazed in the night sky, marking the 4th of July, while she prepared to tackle yet another wealthy man's home. As Rosa dusted off family portraits adorned with golden frames and polished wood, her heart ached. She couldn't help but think of her own family waiting for her at home, where the walls were much smaller, but the love was larger than any mansion. Just then a faint sound caught her attention. It was a soft whimpering emanating from a closed door. Curiosity bubbled up inside her, but she hesitated. Would she dare trespass into the private world of a little girl locked away? Lily, Thomas's daughter, was a bright soul who had been misunderstood. Rosa had often heard the whispers. She's different. For Rosa, this word resonated more than for others. Her own children were born fighting their own battles. It was a reminder of the struggles within you that no one else could fully see. Ignoring the knot of fear in her stomach, she knocked gently and opened the door. "Hey there," she said softly, offering a warm smile. Lily was sitting on the floor, surrounded by colorful books, an oasis of imagination. The girl looked up, her large round eyes shining with a mix of curiosity and trepidation. They exchanged smiles, a perfect acknowledgement of each other's silent battles. In that instant, the wealth that filled the mansion melted away, leaving just 2 human beings craving connection. But then the reality of the mansion crashed back in. The door swooshed open as Thomas entered, and the tender moment dissolved. Dressed in a suit that screamed power, he eyed Rosa with an air of dismissal. She was just a cleaning lady after all, nothing more. As hours passed while Rosa polished and scrubbed, she cast glances toward Lily, who had fallen silent again. Then, without warning, panic struck as Lily collapsed. The breath left Rosa's body, heart racing, her instincts screaming. She rushed toward the girl who lay motionless. "Call 911, she yelled, her voice shaking. With swift hands, Rosa began administering aid like a mother bear protecting her cub. The clock ticked lethargically. Every second felt like an eternity. Around her, the world froze as chaos erupted. Thomas, all his wealth and status, meant nothing when faced with the grave situation before them. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the sirens wailed in the distance, neighbors began to gather, drawn by the unfolding drama. Whispers filled the air. "Who is she? Is that the cleaning lady?" The community stood at the intersection of 2 worlds, as Rosa's bravery illuminated their perceptions. In this moment, the barriers that wealth had forged melted away, forcing Thomas and everyone around to reevaluate what truly mattered. Lily's eyes fluttered open, and the fright on Thomas's face morphed into a blend of gratitude and bewilderment. Here stood Rosa, not just as a cleaner, but as a hero. Would this moment bridge the gap between their worlds? Or would the differences tear them apart forever? The night, once filled with fireworks, now shimmered with an unforeseen connection waiting to unfold. The questions lingered, heavy in the charged air, as fireflies flickered between the 2 families, illuminating the fragile path toward a united tomorrow. Rosa felt a rush of relief wash over her as Lily stirred, her small frame finally responsive to the world around her. Thomas rushed to his daughter's side, his face a canvas of anguish and gratitude, melting the icy barrier that had long separated their lives. In that moment, he seemed less like a towering figure of authority and more like any father desperate to protect his child. As the paramedics arrived, Rosa stepped back, her heart still racing. Thomas turned to her, his eyes glistening with unshed tears, and for the first time she saw vulnerability. "Thank you," he managed to say, his voice cracking. The words lingered in the air like a lifeline, bridging the chasm between them. Rosa shrugged, overwhelmed by the enormity of the moment. I just did what anyone would do, she replied softly, her voice almost lost in the chaos. She could see the faces of the gathered neighbors, their curiosity morphing into admiration. They whispered among themselves, their perceptions of her as a mere cleaning lady flipping on its head. While Lily was being examined, Rosa felt an ache in her chest. It was a familiar emotion, a blend of hope and worry. Those feelings tore through her as she thought about her own children, the weight of her responsibilities pressing harder. She longed for acknowledgement, for the world to see her not as invisible but as valuable. In that mansion filled with gold, she was more than a worker. She had become a lifeline. As the paramedics wheeled Lily out on a stretcher, Thomas followed closely behind, his silhouette tall and shadowed. For a brief moment, their eyes locked, a fleeting moment of understanding that burned through the air between them. But then he was gone, swallowed by the urgency of the situation. Back at the mansion, the energy shifted. The guests who had initially gathered out of curiosity found themselves moved by the events they had witnessed. Conversations buzzed about Rosa's bravery, her instincts taking precedence over anyone's listed social status. The night that had begun with explosions of color turned into whispered stories of connection and miracles. Rosa collected her cleaning supplies, but she couldn't shake the weight of the night's unfolding. Pulling the front door open to leave, she was startled to find Thomas waiting outside. His expression was earnest, almost pleading. I owe you more than gratitude, he stammered, the tension evident in his stance. Would you be willing to meet me? I need to talk to you. About Lily, about all of this. The request hung in the air, wrapping Rosa in a haze of confusion and curiosity. Did he truly want to connect? Or was it more about figuring out how to make sense of an event that had turned his world upside down? Rosa felt an internal tug-of-war. Her instincts urged her to walk away, back to the simplicity of her life. But something deeper, a sense of purpose or maybe destiny, pushed her to consider the invitation. As she looked into Thomas's eyes, she felt the dawn of a potential friendship or partnership, unsure and fragile. Okay, she finally replied, her voice steady yet tremulous with emotion. I'll meet you tomorrow. As she walked towards her car, hope flickered in her heart. What could come from this new relationship? Would they be able to break the barriers that had built their worlds, or were they destined to remain apart? The night whispered promises, and Rosa was left wondering what this new chapter would hold. Would they truly create a bond that could bridge their vastly different lives? Or would shadows from their past hold them hostage? That uncertainty lingered in the air as she drove away, engines humming and the stars shining bright above. The next morning, sunlight streamed through Rosa's window, casting warm golden patterns across the room. It was a new day, but anxiety twisted in her stomach like a knot. She glanced at the clock, her heart skipping a beat. She was meeting Thomas soon, and the weight of that felt heavier than ever. As she prepared for the day, she tried to brush off the butterflies that danced wildly in her gut. A simple outfit, a clean blouse and a pair of jeans, felt inadequate. What did one wear to meet a man who lived in a mansion? But she shook her head, reminding herself that it was about Lily, about bridging the gap that had divided them for so long. Driving to the cafe where they agreed to meet, Rosa felt like a tightrope walker, each breath filled with uncertainty. What if things didn't go well? What if he changed his mind? Pulling into the parking lot, she thought about how yesterday's chaos had linked them, binding their worlds in unexpected ways. Inside the small cafe, she chose a corner table, her favorite spot that allowed her to keep an eye on the entrance. Moments felt like hours as she sipped coffee, the steam swirling up gently while thoughts raced through her mind. Would he show? Would he even want to talk about Lily, or just brush off the whole thing as a mistake? As if summoned by the question itself, Thomas entered, looking slightly worn yet hopeful. His hair was tousled, as though he had just rolled out of bed, but there was a fire in his eyes, a determination mingled with gratitude. Rosa's heart beat faster as he walked toward her, and she tried to mask her nerves with a smile. Thank you for coming, he said, pulling out a chair to sit across from her. His voice was filled with sincerity, but she could also hear a hint of weariness. Thank you for asking, she replied, crossing her arms lightly on the table, a barrier she knew wouldn't keep the world out but made her feel a bit safer. There was a blink of silence, a gentle pause where they both seemed to take in the weight of the moment. She could sense the shared fear of the unknown, both of them wrestling with how to approach this conversation. I've been thinking about what happened yesterday. Thomas began, his gaze focused. Lily's recovery is everything right now. The doctors are hopeful, but it's hard. I don't want to go through this alone. Rosa nodded, feeling the sting of tears behind her eyes. You're not alone. You have people who care about you both. It's natural to feel lost, but what? He interjected, leaning forward. Tell me, please. It's complicated, she admitted, her voice wavering. There are so many people who depend on me too. I know what it's like to fight for someone you love. I would do anything for my kids. He watched her intently, absorbing each word with that same mix of desperation and determination. I need to understand how to be there for her, he confessed. She means everything to me. And I don't know how to express that. Rosa felt a surge of compassion wash over her. Being there doesn't always mean making big gestures or knowing the right words. Sometimes it's just about sitting close and sharing the silence. She'll feel your love. Thomas paused, his expression more vulnerable than she had ever seen before. I've been so focused on providing a good life for her. I forgot what it means to just be her dad. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, the distance between them began to close, at least emotionally. You're doing the best you can, and that's enough, Rosa soothed. We can help each other figure this out. He opened his mouth, but before he could respond, the cafe door chimed softly. A young woman with flowing blonde hair stepped inside, her face lit with an energy that seemed to radiate warmth. She walked over unaware of the conversation unfolding, clearly smiling at Thomas as she approached. Sorry I'm late, she declared, her voice cheerful. I just had to pick up a few things for Lily. Rosa's heart sank at the sudden intrusion. Who was this woman? Was she another part of Thomas's life that Rosa would have to compete with? Thoughts raced through her mind, and for a moment she felt small again. Just a cleaning lady, in the presence of a father, a stranger, and now a potential rival. Who is she? Rosa managed to ask, feeling her anxiety bubble as she tried to mask the insecurity creeping in. Thomas turned, caught off guard for the first time. Oh, this is Emma, a close friend, he explained with an uncertainty that made her pulse quicken further. Rosa's eyes narrowed slightly. Friends didn't just show up with that kind of energy. Would this change everything? As the three of them exchanged cautious greetings, Rosa wondered if fear would shatter this newfound connection, or if they might all find a way to work together for what truly mattered. The atmosphere in the cafe pulsed with unresolved tension, and Rosa found herself caught between fear and hope. What did this all mean? Would they be able to navigate through this tangled web, and would they emerge stronger or more divided than before? An awkward silence settled over their table, punctuated by the clinking of cups and the chatter of other patrons. Rosa could feel the weight of Emma's cheerful demeanor pressing in on her, intensifying her sense of vulnerability. Thomas was still looking at Emma, but his eyes shifted back to Rosa, searching. Emma and I go way back, he explained, his voice more solid now but still tinged with uncertainty. She has been helping me with everything, really? Rosa didn't miss the way he hesitated, almost like he was weighing his words. What kind of help did she offer? Did he need more than just Ryan's and Lily's emotional support? The questions swarmed in her mind, and she tried to push them away, clinging to the moment that had brought her here. Nice to meet you, Rosa managed, forcing a smile despite the churning nerves. Emma beamed back, genuinely friendly, and Rosa couldn't help but notice the warmth in her gaze. Stung just a bit. You too. I've heard so much about you, Emma replied, her enthusiastic tone lightening the mood just a fraction. Thomas speaks about you a lot. It's great that you're connecting over Lily. Thanks, Rosa said, not really knowing how to respond. Was that a compliment or a jab? She knew Thomas cared about Lily deeply, but she didn't quite understand his connection with Emma. Thomas cleared his throat, breaking the tension. Can we focus on what brought us here? Of course, Emma said, quickly picking up on the shift in mood. What can I do to support you both? I want to be part of this. Lily's a sweetheart. She is, Rosa said, a flicker of warmth warming her heart. And she needs all the love she can get right now. Emma nodded emphatically. I can help. I can coordinate visits, maybe set up a care roster. We could even throw her a little get well soon party at your place if you guys think she'd like that. Rosa thought about Lily's favorite things, the way her face lit up when she saw balloons and cake. It was an unexpected idea but a good one. That could work, she said, glancing at Thomas for confirmation. He met her gaze, hope sparking in his eyes. Yeah, maybe we can lighten the mood a little. I like that idea. Emma's enthusiasm was contagious, and for a moment, Rosa felt electricity in the air. A possibility they hadn't anticipated. They could be a team, three people united in a cause greater than themselves. But uncertainty still gnawed at her. A part of her remained uneasy about Emma's presence. It dawned on Rosa that while they may all share a love for Lily, the dynamics were changing, and she would need to stake her ground not just as a mother, but as a collaborating partner in this new arrangement. Let us just make sure we keep the lines open, okay? Rosa said carefully, looking from Thomas to Emma. I believe communication is key. Absolutely, Thomas agreed, nodding. Emma placed her hand on Thomas's arm. A supportive gesture, making Rosa's heart clench. Maybe we can do a meeting every week to discuss updates? Emma chirped, trying to sound professional but retaining her friendly sparkle. Just a little catch-up on how things are developing. Rosa considered this, the weight of the situation feeling both lighter and heavier at once. They were building something with uncertain foundations. Sounds like a plan, she finally replied, attempting to quell the unease boiling beneath her calm exterior. Suddenly, the cafe door swung open again, and a rush of cold autumn air swept in, a fresh burst of energy that felt almost like a sign. Rosa turned, and there stood a woman she recognized from Lily's school. A fellow mother who had always exuded confidence and warmth. Rosa! The woman called out, striding over as she spotted them. You know you're still signed up for the bake sale next Saturday, right? Rosa blinked, completely caught off guard. She had completely forgotten about that commitment, and suddenly, the layers of her life peeled back, revealing the chaos she had hidden deep inside. Yes, I totally remember, she stammered, her mind racing. The bake sale was just another thing on her growing to-do list. Great. We could use your famous brownies, the woman said with a smile, her presence amplifying Rosa's sense of being pulled in too many directions at once. Yeah, of course, Rosa replied, her heart sinking as she felt time slipping through her fingers. This wasn't just about Thomas, Emma, and Lily anymore. It was about her too. Would she be able to keep up with everything? As the conversation shifted, Rosa watched Emma and Thomas as they exchanged quick glances, a silent understanding blossoming between them. Rosa was more than just a cleaning lady now. She was stepping into a battle for not only Lily but for a sense of belonging. But could she truly accept this new arrangement? Would she be able to share the weight of love and responsibility without losing herself? The cafe around them buzzed with life, and yet Rosa felt the atmosphere thickening with uncertainties. Where was this path leading? In that moment, she knew the stakes were rising, and as she focused on their shared purpose, the question loomed larger: if she let them in, would it all come crashing down? Or would they unite for something greater than insecurities? The air weighed heavy with unspoken tension as Rosa sat back in her chair, her heart racing. She turned her gaze towards the window, watching the leaves swirl in an autumn dance, a chaotic beauty that mirrored her thoughts. Thomas and Emma were talking, their voices blending into the background chatter of the cafe, but she couldn't focus on their words. Instead, her mind raced through the cacophony of responsibilities. How could she juggle everything? Rosa, Thomas's voice pulled her back to reality. What do you think? She blinked, suddenly aware of their expectant looks. I think it's a wonderful idea to coordinate our efforts. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. But I just need to make sure I don't overwhelm myself. The admission slipped out and she wished she could take it back. Totally get that, Emma chimed in, her sunny disposition unwavering. We'll make sure it's manageable. Thomas nodded, a hint of understanding in his eyes, but the concern never fully left his face. We're in this together, he said firmly. Lily comes first, always. The four walls of the cafe felt limiting, closing in near Rosa. But how do I fit in? She thought, biting her lip. Was she just the mother now? And what if they didn't need her? The thought made her stomach twist painfully. Before she could fully lose herself in her spiraling thoughts, the cafe's door swung open again, and in walked a man whose presence turned heads. With striking features and a confident stride, he strolled towards the counter. A sudden shift in energy as the customers turned to watch. Rosa couldn't help but wonder if he was some new arrival within their local gossip cycles. Maybe he could solve her problems. Who was that? She whispered to Thomas, trying to keep her voice low. Don't know, he shrugged, stealing a glance. But he looks like he has got a story to tell. The man ordered coffee, his voice deep and smooth as he spoke to the barista. Unbeknownst to him, Rosa felt an odd parallel connect them. He seemed to embody everything she wanted but felt distanced from. Security, confidence, a simple life within reach. But would he really understand her chaos? Rosa, Emma said, her voice again breaking through the bubble of inattention. Why don't we brainstorm ideas for Lily's party? Right, of course. Rosa nodded, her heart racing as anticipation mingled with dread. Maybe we could do something themed around Lily's favorite cartoon? You know, with decorations and games. Something bright and cheerful. Emma leaned in, her enthusiasm palpable. That sounds amazing. Kids love those kinds of things. We could even invite her friends from school. Just as they dove deeper into planning, the man at the counter turned slightly, catching Rosa's eye. Something in his expression shifted as he laid his eyes on her, a flicker of recognition passing through his gaze. It sent an electric pulse of warmth through her. Do I know you? He asked, approaching their table with an easy charm. Rosa's cheeks flushed. What could he want with her? I don't think so, she replied softly, confused but intrigued. The man smiled as if a puzzle clicked into place. You look familiar. I'm Jason. Rosa. She extended her hand tentatively, feeling the impact of impending changes all around her as he shook her hand. Thomas and Emma looked on, curiosity lighting their faces. Jason's eyes were intense yet gentle, drawing her in. What did he see when he looked at her? With a slight nod, he gestured toward the window. I couldn't help but sense a special energy from your table. Is everything okay? Rosa hesitated, the weight of her worries crashing back in. Could someone like him even comprehend the tumult of her life? Yet here he was, interest radiating from him. What was happening? Would this new connection in the cafe help her navigate the shifting landscape of her life? Or would it reveal more than she bargained for, exposing the fragility hidden beneath her bravado? As laughter and chatter filled the space once more, Rosa realized with a start that she was standing at a crossroads. Would she leap into this surprising connection, or would she retreat back to the comfort of her struggles? Something substantial was brewing beneath the surface. With each second vibrating in the air, Rosa felt the drawn-out question hanging above her. Was embracing the unpredictability worth the risk of unveiling everything she kept hidden? Rosa took a breath, steadying herself as Jason's gaze held hers. It was disarming, that intense curiosity in his eyes. She could feel the world around her fading, and all that existed was this moment, this unexpected connection at the cafe. Yeah, everything's fine, she stammered, unsure if she was convincing him or herself. The caffeine-infused air buzzed with energy, but her heart pulsed to a different rhythm, one of uncertainty and yearning. Suddenly Emma's laughter cut through the thickening atmosphere, reminding Rosa of the weight she carried. So Rosa was just suggesting an amazing theme for Lily's birthday party, Emma said, her enthusiasm bubbling over. What about you? Do you have kids? She asked Jason, injecting a pulse of life back into the conversation. Jason's smile widened, but there was a shadow flitting across his face. No kids yet, just my niece and nephew. They keep me busy when I'm not working. His words had an easy charm, but there was something more beneath the surface that Rosa sensed. Maybe he knew burdens too, just different ones. Rosa ventured, it's a lot to organize, but it'll be fun. They love themes, right? She sensed an opening, a way to connect more than just pleasantries. Absolutely, Jason replied, his gaze shifting from Emma to Rosa. Each word as he spoke pulled her in closer. Kids' imaginations are wild. They don't need much to make something magical. There was something familiar about his words, a longing for that magic she once chased. She remembered how Lily's laughter could fill a room, spilling joy like glitter scattered under sunlight. It tugged at her heart. Exactly. We want to make this one unforgettable, Emma chimed, her energy rekindling Rosa's resolve. Rosa can really do amazing things with decorations. She's great at it. The compliment warmed Rosa inside, but the anxiety began to swell again as she thought about her own abilities versus what was actually on her plate. It shouldn't become overwhelming, she murmured, half to herself. Hey, Jason interjected, leaning forward slightly, sincerity in his eyes. If you ever need an extra set of hands or two, I'm all in. I mean, it's always more fun when you have someone working on the nitty-gritty together. right? Rosa blinked, both surprised and intrigued. Felt like an invitation, but what if it became more complicated? Do you really mean that? She asked, gauging the sincerity in his tone. Sure. Think of it as some sort of trade-off, he chuckled, his expression lightening the stiff air around them. You help bring smiles, and I'll help you manage the madness. The laughter bubbled again among them, but something deeper flickered between Rosa and Jason. Perhaps it was the shifting certainty that surrounded her, a possibility laced with the thrill of change. Sounds like a plan, Emma quickly agreed, her excitement bubbling anew. Let us exchange numbers and start planning then. This is going to be incredible. With thumbs dancing on the screens of their phones, the atmosphere filled with an infectious buzz. But beneath the laughter, Rosa's heart skipped a beat at the realization that this was more than just party planning. The risk was high. She was standing at the edge of something, one foot in the comforting chaos of her old life, and the other exploring an uncharted territory with Jason. The dance of possibilities seemed to swirl around them, each step imbued with hope and uncertainty. Rosa stole a glance at Jason. He was engaged, genuine, and utterly captivating in his willingness to get involved in her world. Yet at the same time, could she truly let someone in enough to share her fears? Could she trust him with the chaos of her life swirling as it was? As her cell phone buzzed, breaking through her whirlwind thoughts, she realized her heart was racing, not just from hesitation but something else, an excitement she hadn't felt in years. What would she choose, a new connection, or retreat into the familiar shadows guiding her? As they wrapped up the exchanges, Jason caught her eye again. I feel like there's more to uncover about you. But you seem to be holding back. His words hung in the air, wrapping around her like the autumn chill that slipped through the open door, stirring a heaviness in her chest. Was it truly possible to allow someone new into her world? And just as she was about to answer, another voice broke through the cafe's commotion, drawing her attention. Could this day truly lead to unraveling changes? Could it finally unlock parts of her she almost forgot existed? Rosa's thoughts spiraled as the new voice broke through, pulling her away from the moment with Jason. She turned to see a little girl tugging at the hem of her mother's shirt, eyes wide, her dark curls bouncing with energy. The woman, overwhelmed yet soft-spoken, tried to calm her daughter, who was clearly excited about something in the cafe. It reminded Rosa of Lily's uncontainable spirit. "Mommy, look at that!" the girl exclaimed, pointing towards the window, eyes sparkling like she had just spotted a shooting star. Rosa couldn't help but smile at their interaction. It was warm, pure, the kind of moment she cherished. But then the girl's mother, overwhelmed, scooped her up onto her hip with a deep sigh. "Let us stay calm, okay?" she said with an apology in her voice, revealing a hint of worry. Rosa glanced back at Jason, hoping to share the charm of the moment. But he was watching the pair too, a thoughtful expression on his face. It was as if he felt that same resonance. There was something different about his gaze, like he understood that sweet innocence was often wrapped in layers of challenges. "Kids can be quite the handful," Rosa said softly, breaking the shared silence, trying to lighten the air that was thick with expectations around them. "Yeah, it's like they drag you into their world and you have no choice but to follow," Jason replied, his smile returning as he lightened the weight of the sentiment with humor. "But it can be a fun ride if you buckle up." Rosa laughed, but there was a small ache in her heart. Could she really follow Jason into this new world he was starting to offer? Or was she tying herself to a new set of responsibilities that could leave her feeling just as overwhelmed? "Speaking of rides, we should probably exchange Pinterest boards for the party ideas," Emma chimed in, breaking the stifling tension that had begun to envelop Rosa. "I can't wait to see what you've got, Rosa. The creativity is going to flow." Her excitement was contagious, pulling Rosa a bit closer to the edge of spontaneity. Right, Rosa replied, trying to keep up with the enthusiasm that surrounded her. She felt Jason's hand brush against hers as they both reached for a napkin at the same time. The accidental contact sent sparks through her, electricity dancing along her skin. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, everything else faded again. "What were you thinking for the theme?" Jason asked, leaning in slightly, his interest piqued. He was genuinely curious. That was refreshing. "Well, I was thinking something bright and fun. Maybe a carnival theme with lots of games," she replied, her confidence building as they spoke. "Lily loves those colorful tents and the cotton candy. It's all about the joy they feel. That sounds amazing. Like you're creating a whole world for them to explore. Jason encouraged, his voice layered with admiration. I'd love to see how you translate that into reality. As they exchanged ideas, Rosa felt the barrier between them slowly thaw. The conversation flowed freely, amping her adrenaline, but a gnawing doubt lingered in the corner of her mind. Could she truly play in this new world he was weaving? Just as Rosa felt herself starting to lean into the excitement, another interruption swirled in. The woman from before approached their table, her daughter now settled in her arms, curiosity etched on her little face. I'm so sorry, she said, barely keeping a nervous smile. But I couldn't help but overhear. Are you all planning a party? Because if you need any help, I'd love to pitch in. I'm a party planner by trade. A rush of bewilderment made Rosa's pulse quicken again. Here was another unexpected turn, an offer of help from a stranger. The energy in the cafe swelled, folding Rosa deeper into this budding connection with Jason, and now this woman. Could this day truly wind into something extraordinary? As she glanced from the excited little girl to Jason and then to the party planner, possibilities fluttered around her. What if this was the beginning of something big, a change that would finally break the cycle of her old life? And as the sun sank lower, casting warm light through the cafe window, Rosa realized she stood on the precipice of transformation. Could she feel brave enough to leap into this new adventure, trusting these new connections to guide her? With a heart full of emotion, she considered all the threads weaving together and waited for what would emerge next. The moment hung in the air, filled with potential as if time paused just for them. The party planner's offer was sudden but struck a chord within Rosa. It felt as if the universe had nudged her, saying don't be afraid. Yet doubt wrapped around her like a thick fog. Jason's eyes sparkled, and Rosa could sense his enthusiasm resonate in the small space between them. That would be amazing, he said, nodding at the party planner. What's your name? Maya, she replied, her cheeks flushing with pride. I've been doing this for years. A carnival theme sounds delightful. I have tons of connections for everything from decorations to entertainment. Rosa's heart raced. It was a sweet offer. Maya's sincerity spilled over, making her feel a flicker of excitement reignite. Really? That would be incredible. I'm not sure where to start, Rosa admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Nonsense, Maya said, reaching out to squeeze Rosa's hand. We'll tackle it together. I'll bring the sparkles, you bring the heart. And I can already tell you've got plenty of that. Laughter bubbled up, easing the tension that had coiled in Rosa's chest. It felt so good to laugh again, to let some joy in after so many days of murmured worries and weariness. With Maya's enthusiasm blending with Jason's warmth, the idea of planning a party transformed from a daunting task into a shared adventure. What else do you need? Maya continued, her energy infectious. Games? Food? Entertainers? Rosa transformed the questions, cycling through her mind as she let the dream expand. Images of happy children flooding the space filled her imagination. I want it to be a place of laughter, a place where Lily can feel free and happy, exploring every corner like she's discovering a whole new world. Exactly. Those moments are priceless, Jason added, leaning closer, connecting with her vision. Suddenly everything clicked. The colors, the music, the scents of popcorn and cotton candy danced through her memories. A treasure hunt. We can have clues leading to surprises sprinkled across the cafe. She blurted out, her voice bursting with newfound confidence. Yes, Maya exclaimed. And I know just the thing we can put at the end. I have some contacts for a petting zoo that could visit. Imagine the smiles. The thought made Rosa's heart flutter with excitement. This was more than a party. It felt like they were building a community, bringing joy not only to Lily but to everyone around them. As they brainstormed, the cafe seemed to vibrate with their energy. The aroma of coffee and baked goods mingled with laughter, creating a comforting cocoon. With every shared idea, Rosa felt the weight of her insecurities lighten, floating away like the last remnants of winter. But as the sun's last rays dipped beyond the horizon, casting uncertain shadows, another thought crept in. Was she truly capable of bringing this vision to life? What if she failed? Rosa, you okay? Jason's voice broke through her spiraling thoughts, holding a genuine concern. Yeah, just thinking, she replied, forcing a smile. about how far I can go with this. Maya leaned in, her eyes sparkling. You can go as far as you dare to imagine. Trust in what you can create. Rosa felt hope rising, battling doubt. Could she trust this kind of support? Was she ready to dive into planning, engaging in this journey with Jason, and now with Maya? As she opened her mouth to voice her thoughts, a loud commotion erupted outside the cafe doors. The noise of sirens cut through the night, creating a stark contrast to their earlier joy. What the? Jason's brows knitted together in concern. Rosa's heart raced again. This time not from excitement but from instinctive worry. Before she could turn to see, the cafe door swung wide, and in rushed a figure drenched in panic, calling for help. What is happening? Rosa gasped, her heart thudding in rhythm with the pulse of unease hanging in the air. Would this evening unravel before their eyes? And with everything they were starting to build, what sort of storm was brewing? The door slammed against the wall as a wild-eyed woman burst into the cafe, her hair disheveled and clothes splattered with mud. Help! Please, you have to help me! She gasped, breathless with urgency. Rosa's stomach twisted. She exchanged a worried glance with Jason. The joyous atmosphere from moments ago vanished, replaced by a charged silence. Maya instinctively moved to block the entrance, her expression shifting to one of fierce protectiveness. What's wrong? She asked, her voice steady amid the escalating tension. It's my daughter. She was playing near the creek. A storm came through and she got swept away. The woman's voice broke as she pleaded for their assistance. Rosa's heart dropped as she processed the details. That creek just a few blocks down was notoriously dangerous after heavy rains. Panic bubbled within her, but a part of her soul sparked with determination. We need to call 911, Jason exclaimed, pulling out his phone. No, not yet, the woman interrupted, desperation overtaking her. I ran here to find you all. Faye Lily. I heard you and I thought maybe you could help. She's just a little girl. I can't lose her. Tears streamed down her muddy cheeks as she clutched the edge of the counter, her knuckles white. Without thinking, Rosa stepped forward. What would it take to find her? She asked, her voice steady. Please, if we hurry, we might catch her before it's too late. The mother cried, her eyes wide with terror. If we go now, we can look along the bank. The air grew thick, every heartbeat echoing Rosa's own fears. She could sense Jason's intensity behind her. Both of them tethered in this moment, urging each other silently. A flicker of defiance rose within her. They had just begun to think about joy, community, and laughter. But now the world seemed dark, demanding their courage. Let us do it, Jason said, his jaw set with determination. Rosa, Maya, can you handle the cafe? I'll go with her. We'll spread out, look everywhere. Wait. Maya's voice was calm and decisive, cutting through the chaos. We need to organize ourselves. 2 of us will go to the creek, 1 will stay here and get more people to help. I can call the local community center. They'll have volunteers who can assist. Rosa nodded, the plan igniting a sense of purpose. I'll help you with that, Maya, she responded, her heart racing but steady. The mother's grip on Rosa tightened with gratitude. Thank you both. You're so brave, she murmured. Rosa felt a swell of warmth mixed with fear. Could they really save this little girl? In an instant she thought of Lily. She wanted to protect her. Somehow she thought of that party they were planning, the joy they were hoping to create. Life could change in a heartbeat, and the power of unity stirred a fierce determination within her. Let us go, Jason shouted, breaking the moment's tension. He and the frantic mother dashed outside, racing toward the sound of rushing water. Just as Rosa turned to follow, she felt a tug on her sleeve. It was Maya, her eyes wide with something unspoken. Rosa, what if we can't find them? She whispered, the edge of fear creeping into her voice. Rosa swallowed hard. Then we'll keep looking. We won't give up. We can't. Every fiber of her being urged her to fight against despair. She'd faced challenges before. Maybe today was no different. As they rushed to organize help, Rosa's resolve strengthened. But deep down a sinking worry grew. They were racing against time, and what if the worst happened? In the distance, the echo of sirens grew louder, merging with the sound of rushing water. What awaited them at the bank? Would courage be enough to turn the tide? Rosa felt the urgency in her veins as she rushed after Jason and the frantic mother. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that stretched ominously as if the world itself was holding its breath. Her heart thudded violently, each beat reminding her of Lily's tender face, of innocence that needed saving. They sprinted toward the creek, dread weaving through her chest like the weeds choking the bank. "We'll split up when we get there," Jason shouted, his voice firm against the night's tension. The girl's mother nodded frantically, tears spilling down her cheeks. As they reached the water's edge, the chaos of nature swirled around them. The creek roared with energy, recent rains turning its gentle flow into a torrent. Rosa's stomach twisted at the sight. Her mind raced. Where could the little girl possibly be? Let's check high ground first. If she gets swept away, she could have climbed up, Jason directed. He moved confidently, and the mother followed closely, each of them scanning the feast of despair. Rosa felt the widening void between them as she turned back toward the cafe. "I need to help, but I can't think clearly," she muttered to herself. Maya was already on her phone rallying volunteers. The plan was taking shape. People would come together to search the area, to create a human chain if needed. "There's power in numbers," she whispered, reminding herself. But the image of the little girl gripped Rosa's heart. If only she could channel her determination into action. "Keep your phone on. Call if you see anything," Jason yelled, running upstream with the mother. Rosa took a deep breath and called out to Maya. "We need light. A spotlight or flares from the community center." Maya's eyes flashed with recognition. "Absolutely. I'll get the word out. You stay focused on the main area." As the cafe filled with neighbors who responded to Maya's call, Rosa felt the energy shift. They worked methodically, gathering flashlights, ropes, anything that might aid in the search. Rosa stood shoulder to shoulder with people she barely knew. But in that moment they were united, fueled by hope and the shared purpose of saving a child's life. "Where's Jason?" she wondered aloud, a knot beginning to form again in her stomach. "I just got a text," Maya called, finally breaking through the chaos of voices. "He said they're heading downriver, and he's sure they'll find her." Hope flickered, igniting the resolve in Rosa's heart once more. "Let us move," she commanded, determination flowing through her blood as she led a small group toward the banks of the creek. The shadows cast by their flashlights danced like fireflies in the gathering darkness. Time blurred as they marched along the bank, calling out the little girl's name. Each echo bounced back like a cruel taunt, drawing out their fears. Rosa pushed through, her heart pounding louder than the rushing water beside them. Then, like a beacon of light, she heard Jason's voice break through the din. "We found her. Over here." The world stopped. Rosa sprinted toward the sound, her heart racing with anticipation and dread in equal measure. As the group rounded the bend, she saw them, a small figure bundled in Jason's arms, soaked but alive. The girl's mother collapsed. Sobs of relief echoed through the night air, slicing the tension in half. Rosa released the breath she didn't realize she was holding. She rushed to Jason, who knelt by the little girl, whispering soothing words. Relief washed over Rosa as the girl started to stir, blinking awake into the light. "Mommy," her voice was hoarse yet hauntingly sweet. "I'm here. I'm right here, sweetheart," her mother cried, arms outstretched. Everything else faded into the background as Rosa stepped back, allowing healing to flow into the embrace of a family reunited. There were no longer barriers. The darkness had shattered into bright shards of compassion that illuminated them all. "Thank you, Rosa. I couldn't have done this without you," Jason said, his voice carrying a weight of gratitude. "Maybe we saved each other," she replied softly, the bond deepening in this moment of shared life and hope. As dawn broke and the sky ushered in hues of pink and orange, something shifted within Rosa. The fear that had gripped her loosened, replaced by a sense of belonging. Amid the chaos they formed a community. Amid the fear they witnessed a miracle. That day wasn't just about saving a little girl. It was about understanding one's own worth, about love and connection beyond titles. Rosa embraced this moment, a woman with a purpose standing strong and proud. As the sun rose high, melting away the night's fears, she realized this wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The making of a new chapter where they would all learn together, heal together, and love fiercely. And in that quiet dawn, with life renewed, the future felt undeniably bright. If you're inspired by Rosa's journey of transformation, You need to subscribe now to stay updated on future stories that touch the heart. Leave a like now to show your support and feed the algorithm. Comment below your feelings and reactions about this hopeful ending. We'd love to hear from you. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this beautiful transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the significance of supporting our journey together.